There's a lot of people really upset that Nick Martinez, with the Reds up 6-0, went back out in the 7th inning. And I'm just like, there's certain points where you have to try to extend your starting pitchers. And Martinez's pitch count was like in the 60s, I think. Your bullpen's beat up. The Kansas City Royals are not a good offensive team. You think this Reds offense is bad? They're worse. It's not even close. Like, they are significantly worse of an offense. So, like, yeah, if the Reds are up 6-0 and they're playing the Cubs at Great American Ballpark, okay, yeah, maybe you do pull Nick Martinez after 6 innings. But in that ballpark, like, you have to have him try to go back out in the 7th. I don't care what the third time through the order stats are, which I'm a believer in, but this isn't a playoff game. Right. Like, you have to take your shots over a 162-game season and save the bullpen. So I feel like sometimes people go a little overboard on that.
Yeah, if not now, then when, right? Like, it seems kind of like that's Monday morning quarterbacking to a certain extent, or I guess hindsight 2020. If you don't want Martinez going back out there now, then you never will, because everything that you could point to say, well, this is a good reason why you would want to do it, whether it be the bullpen. I would argue that that's probably the most valuable point there is the bullpen is been spent. And you have more baseball games to be played, and you've got to try to reserve some of these guys as much as you can. And you can't do, as much as we gave David Bell credit for really kind of maybe sticking with his guns when it comes to the margins, and some people didn't like the analytics side of it, and et cetera, but you couldn't say David Bell wasn't prepared. That's what we give him credit for. The one thing that I think that we've always said maybe that David Bell did not do a very good job of was managing a bullpen, or trying to make sure that when you get midway through, 3/4 through the year, that you still have guys that are serviceable because they've not been spent already. And that is something David Bell did not do a great job of. It felt like he always would kind of pull guys early. He would put people that he trusted into roles where you felt like maybe you didn't need them in these types of spots. But you know what? He wanted to get a win because the wins were somewhat hard to come by in his tenure at times. So today's a good example of probably Tito leaning on the idea of saving his bullpen more than extending Martinez, more than trying to get a complete game out of somebody just to say you did it, more than just saying this is probably the best person that we'd like to put in this spot right here just to win the game in general. I think he very much is a bullpen, top-of-mind type of manager, and today was the showcase of that. Now, whether or not you want to argue that it worked out, they gave up some runs, yes, but they won the game. And tomorrow, there's a chance they're going to be able to use some guys that they weren't going to be able to use today, and they might help us win tomorrow. So, and that's the hardest thing to do, Nick, on a day-to-day basis when you try to justify if a manager is doing a good job or not doing a good job, is probably their bullpen usage, because you don't really have anything that can clearly illustrate whether or not they were the reason why you won the next day or you didn't. You saved a guy that you didn't bring in today and you used him tomorrow. People aren't going to give you credit for that tomorrow. They're just going to say, well, he was available. They're going to forget all about the fact that you decided to make a decision today that affected tomorrow. So, you can't sit here and always second guess bullpen decisions that a manager makes until you get to the postseason or at a time frame where tomorrow doesn't matter at all, right?
100%. Yeah, managing a bullpen is the most difficult thing that I think that people don't give nearly enough credit of how difficult of a job it is. And I'll say this, in terms of Francona's managing, I probably give him an A. Maybe not an A+ just because of opening day, but bullpen management, I think he's done a very, very good job at. And overall, I've been very pleased with that. But I mean, look, Sal Perez, that ball goes foul.
Right.
Martinez might have finished this game.
Yeah.
And you had an entire bullpen day saved, which would have been huge. Now, it didn't work out that way. And I think after 7, you kind of were like, all right, yeah, we can't go anymore. But, again, that ball's a couple more feet foul. Martinez, there's a real chance he finishes this game. You get a full bullpen day off, and you can't have enough of those over the course of a 162-game season.
Yeah, and listen, Martinez's numbers third time through the lineup, they clearly illustrate that there's a big drop off, right? Like there's no doubt that there are certain analytics that point towards Martinez not doing what people were upset about. But to be clear, there's also ulterior motives that exist throughout a 162 game season that I think that is exactly what Tito Francona was trying to do today. It wasn't because he thought this was the best chance I have to win today is to continue to throw Martinez. I think it was simply because he wanted to try to save his arms.